But the thing, once again, that they lack is that sturdiness, that kind of beefiness in matching against Onic Philippines. Now, they're not the most tanky either, but they've got great health bars in comparison to Nxp Evos.
Yeah, it's going to be a battle of who gets to initiate first. These are lineups that, yes, they can go with a slow front-to-back team fight approach, but they don't need to. Just looking at the lineups of these two teams, I'm seeing a scramble every team fight. I'm seeing unique points of entry, not necessarily just going for, okay, initiate, then we fight. You're going to see players from both sides, players from both sides, just go and approach it through different off angles, take their opponents by surprise. It's going to be a fun match.
Loading up on the game number 3, ladies and gents. Identities are being locked in as we head on to the draft. After the draft here for Nxp Evos and Onic Philippines, they're sticking with it. They want to show the world what they're made of. We are going to see some small, scrappy fights for sure around the mid lane because of these picks.
Yeah, and game number 3 here, again, that jungle matchup, I think H2O, this is what we've typically seen from Hayabusas. If they can have a good early game and not struggle too much, then they are very valuable. But that damage, once again, later on in the game, it does fall off a little bit. So I feel like Nxp Evos, definitely with the lineup they have, they want to end this game sooner than later because Onic Philippines will scale very well as well into the late game.
Yeah, considering they do have the airfield, they have that little bit of security, but crowd control will favor Onic for sure.
Yeah. Wow, the aggression. Once again, this is exactly the comfort for H2O, right? This is what we were talking about before even game 1 started. You get to play that assassin hero, running with the assassin emblem, and you want to be aggressive. That's exactly the identity that we're seeing here from Nxp Evos. Abyssal Arrow actually landing here on Donut, and it's going to be a solo kill for Super Friends here with the first blood.
Man, if I was Donut, I'd be saying, my bad, my bad, my bad. Because I really thought he'd be able to sidestep it. Oh, look at that entry. The combo.
The finesse.
And the aggression. Lots of adjectives.
1 for 1, man. That's a lot of objectives that you've got there. And so far, NXP are actually being more aggressive all throughout the map here. Save for that little bit of a beautiful arrow there from Super Friends.
Oh, Rapid Dude, is he actually going to commit to this one? Doesn't have the flicker, but should it be fine? Oh, but the response from Nxp Evos, H2O going in, does not have, he does actually have the Shadow Kill. He didn't want to commit it because now the turtle's up. So let's see. Sensui going to be full health here, does have the Retribution available. H2O definitely wants to get some buffs here. And neither team wants to commit to that turtle because they got to be safe. It is the 1 for 1. And at this point, this is crucial for both junglers.
Right now for Onic, there's going to be a lot of pressure on Sensui and Rapidude on the turtle fights. Rapidude really needs to time all his abilities, his second and third specifically, because those are your key control abilities that can stop the tempo of NXPE to give space for Sensui to be able to get the turtle, because Sensui has to stay longer in turtle and objective fights, and it seems like Onic is going to get this one without a problem, because H2 on the Hayabusa doesn't even need to be there. He could just throw out his Shadow in, try to retreat, then Shadow out. It's going to be Sensui most of the time in difficult situations. That's why there's a lot of pressure on the jungle and the rumor of Onic PH for objective fights.
Yeah, Mycophobia flickering in here, looking for the setup. Can't find it just yet. Takes quite a bit of damage himself. The CC is too strong as Mycophobia falls, but now H2O goes in with a Shadow Kill. Can't get nets. And now Sensui makes his way. There's the flicker play. I'm offended. Coming out, H2O gonna get kicked into the bush and falls here over to the hands of Nets as he gets himself 2 kills. Meanwhile, on the top side, the knockup on Ryota, but should be fine.
Once more, Rapidude and Sensui playing so much more confident, even going for the flicker ins. Means that the lack of crowd control here from NXP is really showing its weakness.
Yeah, the main crowd control that NXP has is Mycophobia. He actually saw him get to set it up, but not in the way he wanted to, because the moment he was about to get that toss in, there was Super Friends landing the Abyssal Arrow onto the Jawhead to stop him from throwing either the Selena or the 1-1. A tremendous play there by Onic across the board, and to respond to counter NXPE's attempt to push down bottom.
And again, because of that, they're going to have more confidence to push it here on bot. With, again, Sensui on the backup, very quick here.
Look at that positioning.
Yeah. I mean,
great.
He has full vision.
Yeah, I don't think he wants to commit exactly, especially with, you know, Yelly Haze showing up here, but they're still going to be focusing here on the bottom side of the map.
it is. It's Sui.
Man, as long as no one... Oh, he showed up.
Oh, he goes in. Migophobia, though, responds to him. There's going to be the knock-up now. Yelly Haze trying to help him out. H2O trying to get that buff. And now Migophobia takes quite a damage. The crossbow of Tang coming out from Nets. Not able to get another kill. H2O trying to get away, but gets stunned by the arrow. And the double kill goes over to Nets. What a synergy play here from Onic Philippines.
Nets responds incredibly well. This is the third 1-1 game in a row we've seen from him in the series. And every time, he just meshes so well with Rapidude and Super Friends, always ready to make the most out of the setups of his mid laner and his roamer.
You have to admire as well that NXP did try to re-engage.
Yes,
They knew where everyone was. They were planning to re-engage once Nets landed from the crossbow Tang.
Oh,
Man.
the
Oh, look
ejector,
at
the
this.
Unstoppable Force, the combination. As they find a kill here on the top side, Ryota does fall, but they also lose a turret here, so the cross-map plays from both teams, trying to open space around the map.
And that's what happens when their combo works out.
Yeah. Push and pull, back and forth. Onic PH, have to be careful for when it meshes and clicks for NXP. Still not an incredibly big lead here. The next team fight or next skirmish we'll see will determine the outcome of the next objective fight in the game. Dominant size already picked up by Ryota early. He's going to want to reduce, of course, the movement speed that NXP has and the healing and the brute force breastplate pick up by Sensui because, again, I mentioned he's going to be staying longer in areas of danger. He needs the stacking of magic defense that you can get with that brute force breastplate.
All right, considering they have knowledge of the map, NXP are looking more confident here, but look at this.
Way the Dragon setting up on James. Here comes Nets looking for another kill to add to his belt, but Sensui takes it from him. Meanwhile, on the bottom side, they find another kill on Ryota as he falls, plus the turret. So it's going to be a 1-for-1 trade. And now Nxp Evos still looking for more. Super Fritz getting knocked up here. And another kill goes in the hands of Nxp Evos.
It was a beautiful chain there. And again, both teams trying to play one part of the map. Overall, we are even Stevens on gold almost.
Yeah, junglers are the ones setting the tempo. The teams are just going along with them. Onic PH won't be able to get the tower up top. I'm quite surprised. I thought Ness would just go ahead and try to take it out right away, but here's the bottom lane again.
Oh man, Ryota gonna get killed again here. Migophobia popping the flicker. Rapidu looking for a setup because it's Sensui now
Good
joining
spacing.
the party. Looking for a kick, gets the way of the dragon off. Should be a kill going over to him, but still has the shield and able to throw him over. But Sensui not done yet. Wants the kill, finally grabs it, but Donut finds the target himself as Rapidu falls. It's gonna be a trade here in the bottom side. Meanwhile, on the top side, another falls for Nxp Evos, and Donut takes a turret.
Top lane was a mess, but bottom lane, NXPE were walking tall here.
Yeah, both teams just, I wouldn't say they're avoiding each other, but they're both just mirroring each other's movements. Wants to make approaches from the top lane, the other wants to make approaches from the bottom lane. They're both getting something out of it. Nets is 5-0-1. A Wind of Nature already for the marksman. No defensive item for the Irithel just yet. Look at that massive gold gap between the Irithel of NXPE and the 1-1 of Onic PH. That's why NXPE decided to give Onic PH this turtle. It was way too risky at this point. The lead on this 1-1 is massive right now.
That's right. It's actually distributed. The gold for Onic is NXP is distributed among their damage dealers, so maybe a good sign, but at the same time, you can't expect Donut to be a hero compared to what Nets is doing for Onic.
Yeah, I mean, literally so much is on Nets here. And this is what we typically see from a 1-1, right? So, Nxp Evos, again, how do you get to the 1-1? They have a lot more tools here than they did in the previous game 1, right? So, even if Migophobia just uses all he has here on this Jawhead, at least you can get to that moment. But you have to work around a lot of dodging the arrows, dodging the way of the Dragon Seal. And now, here comes the setup again. Into the turret they go. Migophobia gonna fall here. Crossbow of Tang gonna pop. Yelly Haze still alive, though. Onic Philippines happy with a kill, and they back off for now.
That's pretty magical, I would say, with Migophobia with a very nice try, but the follow-up was just not there.
Not gonna be enough just yet, especially since that was Sensui. They caught off a lot of defense, but he's getting melted!
Wow, as Sensui falls here in the mid lane, a response from Nxp Evos, they grab a kill themselves.
saw the power of NXP when they have one target on their height and their crosshairs.
It seems like NXP needs to attempt the pickoff more. A full-on team fight, it's too risky, especially if they can't get that 1-1. And again, the 1-1 is the main problem right now for NXP to deal with. And Nets is positioning really well. Rapidude and Superfist are setting him up well.
Yep, and here we go. Mycophobia going to be the focus again as he falls. This is hard to see because Mycophobia is looking for moments again for his team, but the Jawhead is a little bit too squishy here in comparison to the Cooper from last game.
I feel for him because it is just a difficult game to set for, considering NXP's lineup is excessively fragile.
Oh, Nxp Evos, a tough hill to climb for them. Onic, this is a much better matchup for them in this game number 3. Slightly similar in terms of the drafting again, but without having to worry with a Kufa around. We are starting to see and get reminded as to why Jawhead has sort of fallen out of favor for most teams right now. But let's see if Mycophobia can make a play.
Yeah, Shadow Kill also going to be popped in the mid side here. Lord less than half health. Onic Philippines might want to just reset this one, as they do have to be careful because H2O does not have that retribution. Donut going to be continuing to take down this tier 1 turret. They're going to be happy with that. The Lord still being worked on. Jungled between both teams here as they are both in full force. Mycophobia goes over the flicker, gets the toss, the ejector up, and they're going full force for the Lord, but it's secured in a finesse style from H2O. And the response, the way of the dragon on James, looking for a kill. Sensui gets knocked up. Double kill over to James, plus the Lord for Nxp Evos.
That was actually exactly what you wanted to see, but right now NXP are trailing off. They want to go and finish as soon as possible. They know that Nets is out. They're capitalizing hard on that one.
H2 didn't even need to be there so heavily. Mentioned it earlier, as a Hayabusa, show up your shadow, shadow in, retry, shadow out. Exactly what happened, the dream scenario for Nxp Evos. This time they were able to get the setups that they needed with a little bit of help from the Lord. Now on the defensive, there is still a big gap between the two marksmen of these two teams. Irithel is still incredibly behind, but Irithel already has the Wind of Nature. That's all she needs at this point. But Nxp Evos cannot full-on hard commit, even though they have a lead on their side there. It's going to be a lot of pressure now for James and Yelly Haze to be the ones to deal most of the damage and the setups with their combinations. In the last team fight for the Lord, James was in a great position to deal a good amount of damage. Yelly Haze as well. They're going to need to reflect that for this push to make the most out of it.
Obviously, Onic has better, clear here in this matchup. Yeah. They will be able to defend, and they want to go for that long game, obviously with Nets being your primary damage dealer. But isn't it better for NXP to go for the long game? I think Onic has to be more. He has to take more risks here.
I mean, if you think about that previous Lord, what did Nxp Evos get out of that? They got some more gold. They do have the 3K gold in their favor, but Donut, like Renmar has pointed out, Donut's pretty behind in terms of economy versus Nets. So yes, as the game drags on here, it allows Donut to catch up so that when it comes to those team fights later on for those more crucial Lords, he will be able to match up with Nets and be that threat himself. Meanwhile, Nets is having to worry so much with what Mycophobia is doing, H2O and the rest.
That's why it's difficult for Onic to take risks.
Here it is.
This is a calculated risk.
That's what I want to see. Yeah. But again, NXP very much aware. It's very difficult for them to get out of this one.
Yeah. Conceal versus conceal.
Yeah. Actually, wouldn't even call that a risk. That was just a textbook play. To conceal like that. And Onic will just respect the fact that they need to play around the abyssal arrows, the info that they can get with those concealed plays. Because it's going to be hard for Onic to force a fight without them knowing where James is and then Yelly Haze. It's okay for them to find out where Donut is, but they really need to find out where James is right now. Because in terms of the economy, he's only second to H2's levels, but of course with the junglers, they're expected to be the ones on top. But James, having that amount of gold and amount of XP that we saw him earlier in terms of the items he has built, he can dish out a lot of damage to Onic if they're not careful. So James is what they're really looking out for.
Yeah, and again, if you're Onic, you want to forward as much as possible. Don't let yourself get stuck behind and not be able to check these bushes, or else NXP might just overwhelm you. And now they are the ones who are trying to get the most out of this Lord. NXP must answer this though.
Again, I like what H2O has been doing for the majority of the game, just clearing lanes, letting Sensui do the majority of the work on the Lord, and then he usually just comes in and takes it. So this time, Onic Philippines still going to be taking the Lord to less than half health here. Conceal play going to be coming out. Mycophobia could be looking for the injector play. Not going to be able to find it just yet. There's enhanced chains, and the crossbow of Tang does come out. But is it going to be enough? Rapidude flickers out. Yelly Haze falls. Nets pops the wind gen. He's going to be fine as he shuts down Donut. Give the man a triple. And now James on the hunt here. Meanwhile, H2O working in the base. Nets now working on James, but James gets a kill himself. Immortality going to be popped. H2O does back off here. Nets now takes out James. What a play from Onic Philippines.
That should have been a Maniac, but did take too long. Became
the
a
arrow!
mega kill. Oh my goodness.
Oh, Shadow Kill, can he survive through it? Super Prince is really low. H2 trying to dance around, but no! No, says Onic. No, says Super Prince. The Lord will be ours, and this is a nightmare for Nxp Evos.
This is exactly what Naisu said. You don't need to hit all those arrows.
Yeah.
Just hit the one that matters. Hit it onto the Hayabusa and take him out so that they can't defend properly.
Huge momentum shift here for Onic Philippines, as once again, Nxp Evos was pretty dominant in that gold lead, and they've lost it. So now the assault on the base here. Sensui pushing him back. It's thrown into the base. Still going to be alive, though, as he finds Donut. Meanwhile, he does go down. The base is going to be worked on. Can they do it? Onic Philippines takes the series.
That is a 2-1, and definitely a great way to